All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ask Hypnotica. Today, we're going to go through a couple different questions that I think are going to be pretty useful for a lot of you out there. And because, I don't like to beat around the bush, let's get right to it. This first question is from Bob from Australia. Question: I just quit smoking after 7 years, and now I got cravings. First of all, two thumbs up for you, bro, because quitting smoking is one of the toughest things to do. And if you get there, man, your whole life's going to be better and you're going to save money. It's a good thing. So keep it up. I'm going to tell you a little story. About 15, maybe 20 years ago, my roommate basically got a job working with Camel. And he's one of these Camel reps. And so what he would do is he'd come in and he would basically go to the bars and he would say, "Hey, tell you what, I see you're smoking Marlboro over there. I got Camels over here. We'll give you 2 packs if you trade that in right now." So most smokers, being smokers, would be like, "Oh, that sounds like a good deal." So they got their information, did that. So I used to come home. And then I started thinking as a hypnotist and thinking, well, you know what? I'm going to see if I can get addicted to cigarettes, to see if I can figure out what it takes for people to get over that habit. Well, 15 years later, I got over it. And it's one of these weird things. Like, I really never had a craving for it, but it was super weird. It was like a social thing. And I did it on and off because I did these experiments, which a lot of people don't understand, that I do a lot of experimentation. And basically what I'd do is I would go a month partying, smoking, drinking, just see what my body would feel like. Next day, next month, boom, clean up, do my fasting, my juicing, and just notice what the difference is back and forth for many, 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 many years. So when I'm talking about health, I'm talking about, I understand where most people are coming from because I was there, and I really understand how much better you're gonna feel if you just eat a healthy lifestyle. Like I said, I did all of the smoking, the drinking, and the drugs and all that stuff. And basically, I've come to the conclusion that all that stuff, drugs, everything like that, can be obsolete if you start eating really good and you start looking after your own health, because there's nothing, okay, and this has come from a lot of experience, like a lot of experience, nothing makes you feel good as far as being healthy. Nothing. If you're doing it right, there's lots of different ways to do it wrong, but there's also lots of different ways to do it right. And I'm going to give you my protocol, which is really going to be useful for you. So back to the question, first of all, Bob, good job. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas that I think is going to be very useful for you. I'm going to finish the rest of it. Do you have any techniques to help ease the urges? I'm never going back, but this is hard as heck. I basically is what I'm thinking he's saying. Yeah, but you know what's a lot harder? A lot harder is wasting money. A lot harder is looking at yourself in the mirror every day knowing that, your willpower didn't last. It's harder every day to go by people that are healthy, that can smell you 5, 10 feet away. It's harder to know that you're damaging your lungs in the process. It's harder to know that people look at you and go, "Pussy." It's harder to know that hey, man, chances are in the future they're going to have some medical issues. There's a lot of ways that are a lot harder than just not putting another fucking cigarette in your mouth. Okay? Let's understand that. And to me, that was always the best way. Just don't do it. I tried all kinds of different ways. I'm like, oh, I'll just do one, or, well, no, just don't put another one in your mouth. Okay? I want you to look at that cigarette, and the end of it where it has the little filter, it's usually orange. I want you to think of when a dog gets excited. That little lipstick looking thing that comes out, that little red thing. Next time if you do put that cigarette in your hand, I want you to have a full-blown visual feel of this. As you're bringing that closer to your mouth, maybe your mouth starts to water a bit, and you start looking at that little poodle pink thing coming at you. And right before you put it in your mouth, I want you to just get the most disgusting feel, like that's not going to happen. You're not going to be sucking on that little pink thing anymore. Matter of fact, it can even transform and look like a little poodle. Okay? You might want to think about that a little bit, next time you do it. But I'll tell you what one of the main reasons is that people have found that they had been maybe, I don't want to say addicted, but they have been very compelled to smoke a cigarette. The first one is oxygen. A lot of times people just breathe in and they get oxygen, and sometimes that kind of relaxes people. So, try this. Try 9 times. It takes 9 times, 9 deep breaths, like to move you from what they call a sympathetic, and you're in the sympathetic nervous system, to the parasympathetic nervous system, which is more relaxed. It's a very peaceful vibe. It's a healthy vibe. The other thing is that people do is that they put a lot of chemicals in there that are addictive. And one of the chemicals, or one of the elements that people put in, or substances, is sugar. Sugar, in my opinion, is the most addictive substance on this planet. They've done studies now where they're putting rats and things like this, and they're putting cocaine, heroin, and sugar. And guess what? Guess where the animals keep on going back to? Sugar. Most people are completely oblivious or ignorant to the fact that 90% of the world is addicted to sugar. And that, I think, would be the number one thing. So what you want to do is when you're getting those food cravings, first of all, is take a couple deep breaths. Take 9. That's what they're finding out that it takes to get into a nice, relaxed, parasympathetic breath. Take 9 deep breaths. And if you can, go out and get some chlorella. Chlorella is a single-cell algae. It's they got one of the highest levels of protein on the planet. But what it helps do is it helps balance out your blood sugar. When people get cravings because they're doing the foods and the sugars are out of balance, they got to get their sugar balanced. And that's when you get to the point where you're not having those food cravings. It's not up and down energy all over the place. So if you take you start to feel that urge like you want to do, take a cigarette, go grab some 5 chlorella, okay? Make sure it's a good quality brand. If you go to Hippocrates Health Store Institute, they got chlorella on their products page. It's a great product. Highly recommend it, and it's a lot cheaper than some of the other ones. So that's a good place to go. So take 5 of those, and you'll notice that your cravings will start to balance out a little bit. The other thing that's very useful as well is take an ashtray. This is what my grandma did, and she smoked for many years. She took an ashtray, she basically dumped it all into a sock, and anytime that she felt like she wanted to do it, she picked that up and she went, and she took 5 deep breaths. You probably want to be able to take 5 deep breaths into that sock, and just nonstop, just kept on doing it, and to get to the point where you just get a negative association to that. In fact, as you're listening to this, you may notice that the next time you look down at those cigarettes, that little pink poodle penis comes to mind. And then take that and smell that sock and just start to associate that that's fucking bad for you, bro. It's terrible for you. And I assure you know that. But what's not only bad for your health, but it's bad for your mentality, because you know that you're doing something that's damaging your temple. It's damaging who you are. And it's super important. And I know so many people out there, I've been there. It's hard. Just stop. And sometimes you have to go into retreat center mode. I mean, don't hang around with people that do smoke because that's a huge factor involved. It's the company that you hang with. Go do something else until you get over it, where you can come back and you have a dissociated point of view. You got some distance on it. And those cravings, just disappear and dissolve into just a feeling of you feel good already, taking these deep breaths and focusing on what's right for you. So I hope those a couple ideas help you out there, Bob. And 2 thumbs up for doing it. Stay strong, man. You're going to feel a lot better. And plus, you know what? It's better if you do it, because you'll be able to have sex better, because your oxygen levels will be higher. You don't want that little Peter between your legs going down because of the arteries and all that bad stuff. So think about that. Save your sex life. Quit smoking. Do good. You are a non-smoker, my friend. Kick ass. Boom.